The night that changed my life didn't start with sirens. It started with music. The kind of music that makes people forget bills, forget stress, forget the world for a few hours. And if you told me that same night would end with me staring at a hospital ceiling unable to move anything below my neck, I would have laughed right in your face. But yeah, that happened. It was June hot air sitting heavy over the street grills, smoking kids running around neighbors, arguing over domino scores, everybody vibing. I was just another guy at a block party talking with family, checking my phone, minding my business. Then police cruisers rolled up like somebody hit a switch. Doors slammed, radios crackled, and the mood shifted so fast you could feel it in your chest. One officer pointed straight at me like he'd been waiting all night. That's him, right there. I remember looking behind me thinking he meant someone else. He didn't. He walked up with that calm voice cops use when they've already decided how this is gonna go. "Hey man, can I talk to you for a second?" I said sure, because what else do you say? He asked if I had anything on me. I said just my phone. He said they were detaining me. No explanation, no context. Just like that. Detaining, you know what I mean? That word doesn't sound violent, but it feels like a door slamming. Another officer snapped gloves on, started asking about permits, weapons, stuff that didn't make sense. I kept telling them I hadn't argued with anyone, hadn't done anything. My mom and sister were literally right there. Didn't matter. They cuffed me, turned me around, walked me to the cruiser while the music from the party kept playing behind us like life was moving on without me. At the station, they didn't say much. Just paperwork, radio chatter, waiting. I sat there with my hands locked behind my back wrists, already sore, trying to stay calm. I kept thinking this was a misunderstanding, that somebody would realize they grabbed the wrong guy and cut me loose. Then a transport van pulled up. Not a regular car. One of those metal wagons with benches along the sides. The kind you see in movies when they move prisoners like cargo. The driver opened the door and nodded for me to step in. I looked inside and noticed something right away. No seatbelts, just bare metal. I said, "There's no belt back here." He shrugged like I'd asked why the sky was blue. "Step in." So I stepped in. Door slammed. Lock clicked. Engine started. Engine. The van rolled out, and at first it was just uncomfortable, you sliding a little with every turn because your hands are pinned behind you. Then I noticed how fast he was driving. You can feel speed when you don't have anything holding you down. Your body tells you before your eyes do. I braced my shoulders against the wall as best I could, but there's only so much you can do cuffed up. Then suddenly the tires screeched and he slammed the brakes. My body flew forward like somebody yanked me by the spine. My head hit hard. Not a bump, not a tap, I mean hard. For a second, everything went quiet like somebody muted the world. Then pain hit. Sharp electric like lightning running through my neck. I tried to move my hands. Nothing. Tried to move my legs. Nothing. I said, "Yo, I can't move." My voice sounded strange, like it belonged to someone else. The driver yelled back through the little window, "What's going on?" I said it again louder. "I can't move." He didn't stop. He just said he'd get me an ambulance when we got there. I told him stop now. He said he wasn't opening the door. I lay there on that cold floor, heart racing, breath shaking, realizing something was seriously wrong. He finally called dispatch and said I'd fallen and couldn't move, but instead of pulling over, he kept driving. Slow, sure, but still moving. Every bump in the road felt like someone twisting a knife in my neck. I kept saying, "Please don't move me, please." But all he said was, "We're almost there." Almost there doesn't mean much when you can't feel your body. When we reached the detention center, doors opened and bright lights flooded in. Officers gathered around. I thought, okay, this is it, now they'll help. One asked what happened. I told him I couldn't feel anything. He looked at me like he didn't believe me. Another said I was fine earlier. A sergeant crouched down and said, "Can you sit up?" I said I can't. She said, "You're not even trying." That line stuck with me. You're not even trying. Like I'd choose to lie on a van floor, unable to move. They started pulling me out, grabbing my arms, dragging me across the metal. My head rolled because I couldn't hold it up. I said, "Stop." One of them laughed and said, "I probably drank too much." I remember thinking, are they serious right now? They dropped me into a wheelchair without supporting my neck or anything. My arms hung there useless. They rolled me inside like luggage and left me sitting there cuffed again while they asked routine questions. How much did you drink? Any drugs? Do you feel like harming yourself? I wanted to scream, I can't feel my legs, but my voice felt small. Time stretched. It felt like forever before paramedics showed up. When they saw me, their faces changed instantly. No jokes, no doubts, just focus. One said, "Don't move," and I almost laughed because I couldn't if I tried. They stabilized my neck, strapped me down, lifted me carefully, and I remember looking at one of the officers as they wheeled me past. I said, "Y'all did this." He didn't answer. At the hospital, doctors ran scans, spoke in quiet voices, then finally told me straight: cervical spine fracture, severe, permanent paralysis from the neck down. I stared at them, waiting for the punchline. There wasn't one. In one night, I went from walking around a block party to not being able to scratch my own face. The charges they'd arrested me for dropped not long after. Funny how fast that happens when the story flips. But my life didn't flip back. Rehab started months of it, learning how to exist in a body that doesn't listen. You grieve things people don't think about. Tying your shoes, hugging your mom, feeling the sun on your legs. The anger comes in waves. Not loud anger, quiet anger that sits in your chest. One day my sister leaned over my bed and said, "We're not letting this go." That was the turning point. Lawyers got involved, footage got reviewed, timelines got checked. Speeding, no restraints, delayed medical care, dragging me instead of waiting for paramedics. All of it stacked up piece by piece. I filed a lawsuit not because I thought money could fix me, but because somebody had to say this wasn't okay. The number was huge, big enough that people raised their eyebrows when they heard it. And eventually, the city settled for tens of millions. Biggest payout they'd ever done. When they told me, I didn't cheer. I just sat there thinking this is what my body is worth to them. Some officers were fired, some faced charges. The driver appealed his termination and later got reinstated after arbitration. Yeah, that part hits different. Because on one side, you've got me learning how to live life from a chair. And on the other side, you've got people clocking back into work like nothing happened. The city said they had to follow the ruling. Maybe that's true. Maybe that's how the system works. But it leaves a strange taste in your mouth. The settlement helped my family, helped pay for care, made sure I wouldn't be left with nothing. That matters. I'm grateful for that. But money doesn't restore movement. It doesn't rewind time. It doesn't give you back the night you lost. What it does is prove something went wrong officially on paper in a way nobody can deny. So here's the thing I keep thinking about, and I want you to think about it too. If something like that happened to you, if one decision by someone else changed your whole life, would a payout feel like justice or just closure? Because those aren't always the same. I won in court terms, sure, but I still wake up every day in a body that reminds me what that night cost. Some people say the system worked because I got compensated. Others say it didn't because it happened at all. I don't know which side is right, maybe both, maybe neither. What I do know is this: that night started with music and laughter, and it ended with silence and machines beeping beside me, and there's no settlement on earth that erases that sound. So tell me what you think. Was justice really served, or was this just damage control with a dollar sign on it? Drop your thoughts below, argue it out, share your own stories if you've ever seen something like this happen, because conversations like this are how people decide what's acceptable and what isn't. And sometimes the comment section tells the truth louder than any courtroom ever could.